pleasure to be here today and talk about this great acquisition, transfer of development rights, great partnership with the county that we will describe at length. And let me introduce the folks that are here. From the town board, Supervisor Chad Lupinacci, Councilman Eugene Cook, Councilwoman Joan Sergel, Councilman Ed Smith. I send regards on behalf of Legislator Spencer, who could not be here, but obviously was integral to this process. Bruce Tilden from the Tilden family, who's going to speak, and what a debt of gratitude we owe them. Larry Foglia with the Suffolk County Farm Committee. He's the representative from Huntington on that. Sarah Lansdale, who is a Green Lawn resident and is the Suffolk County Director of Planning. August Ruckteschel, who is the Suffolk County Farmland and Open Space Coordinator. We thank them for being here. Members of our SOPA Committee, Conservation Board, Planning Department, Trails Committee. Ginny Munger Khan, I think, was on the way from LI Dog. And of course, Jane Irving, President of the Green Lawn Civic Association, others from the Green Lawn Civic Association with whom we have worked so carefully. And we are so proud to be here today with Sarah Lansdale, who's the Director of Planning for Suffolk County, August Ruckteschel, and the Tilden family, all of whom were integral in this process. Tilden Farm has been in operation since 1793. Anyone who grew up here, and I'm sure remembers the Red Barn on Green Lawn Road, where the Tilden sold produce that they grew on this farm for years. It was a great way to grow up, going to a barn and picking up fresh produce for the people of Green Lawn. Excuse me a second. Thankfully, the Tilden Farm will remain a working farm thanks to the partnership between the town and the county, who work together on a 50-50 basis to purchase the development rights to this 13.69 acre farm. The acquisition was possible due to the Farmland Development Rights Program, which began in Suffolk County in 1974. Suffolk County was the first in the nation to create a program like this, which permanently preserves farmland. And yes, we have farmland here in the west end of Suffolk County, and we work hard to try and preserve that as well. Richter's Orchard, another good example in Northport of an acquisition that we did of development rights with the county. 48 acquisitions have been closed here in the town of Huntington since 1998, when we first started the Huntington Environmental Open Space and Park Review Advisory, the OSPA program that was approved by our residents. And it's our residents who give us this ability, because they voted in bond acts to fund this money that allows us to do these acquisitions. Now, the town and the county in total have partnered for over 213 acres. That's what we've done with the county, and of course, separately on our own, the town's total is in excess of 300 acres. The county Farmland Protection Program is known across the country. It preserves agricultural lands and farm livelihoods, while at the same time preserving open spaces. It allows families to ply their heritage and opens opportunities for farmers to continue at a reasonable cost. In a simple word, in simple terms, protecting prime soils and continuing farm traditions is what we will continue in Suffolk County, and what will continue to make it a great place to live. Thank you to everyone for participating in this, and in particular, I know they're going to speak, but the Tilden family. You cannot have farmland preservation, you cannot have parks preservation and acquisitions without a willing seller. So without the Tilden family taking that step and saying, yes, pay us for our development rights, but we will forever preserve this as a farm. We will give this to the community. So this really is a gift to the community by the Tilden family, because of their willingness to be here and preserve this beautiful open space in Green Lawn. With that, I want to call upon my colleagues on the town board for remarks, beginning with Supervisor Lupinacci.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And it's certainly a beautiful day, so Councilman, thank you for choosing such a picturesque day. And it's very exciting to be here along with Bruce Tilden and his entire family, and of course representatives from the county also, and of course from our town, as we announce the formal acquisition and development rights associated with Tilden Farm, and a tradition that goes back to 1793, very integral for the town of Huntington. So the decision to acquire these rights in a joint fashion between Suffolk County and the town of Huntington was based on our shared vision for a future that both preserves open space and promotes sustainability. In addition, maintaining the current use of this land will also preserve the long and proud tradition of Long Island agriculture right here in western Suffolk County. Hopefully, by our keeping this activity alive and well, future generations will be inspired to explore related careers and become advocates for the environment and other quality of life issues. Simply put, taking these steps like this today are ones where we should continue to highlight, we should continue to promote, and should be considered a standard practice of good government of the county and town working together. So I just want to thank all the county officials that are with us today, and of course thank my colleagues on the town board, and also thank our town staffers that are here too. I know we see Alana Israel that's with us, and Dave Kaufman from our planning department. I want to thank them for all their hard work that they have done to promote sustainability and of course open space, and just hopefully we can continue this partnership with the county and look to promote sustainability and open space in our town of Huntington. Thank you.
Councilman Eugene Cook.
Thank you, Councilman Cuthbertson, and thank you to the Tilden family. What a great day. This is important, not only for Green Lawn, for Huntington, but all of Long Island. And this is just the start. This is what we need to do to keep our sustainability and to make sure that we have clean water and local produce and local gardening and farming. I can't thank the Tilden family enough, and Bruce, thank you for doing this. This is great, and what a great day. With that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, John Circle.
Good afternoon, everyone. We in this business like to use the expression, it's a great day. And but today truly is a great day. I've often said in these types of circumstances, it takes a village, because these are partnerships that have been created at the town level, at the county level, with our citizens, our environmentalists, to preserve open space, farmland, trails. And I want to say that Councilman Mark Cuthbertson really deserves a huge round of applause for this, because he is good to the last drop. We're about to lose him on the town board, but he has been at the forefront of so many of these acquisitions, farmlands. We have farmland acquisition at from the Lewis Oliver Dairy Farm to Manor Farm to the Elijah Farm to this farm, which really continue to enhance our town, enhance our environment, and allow us to continue our farming heritage and legacy here on Long Island, and allow those farmers to continue the good work that they do. So I want to thank the Tilden family. This is a gift today, and it also, I want to thank our partners in government, Suffolk County Executive Steve Bellone, our ESPA committee members. I know they toil over these, they come out and they walk these sites, and they really do a great service to the town of Huntington. So thank you so much. I will now invite Councilman Ed Smith to podium.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. It truly is a beautiful day here in Green Lawn. The weather is about as perfect a day as you could ever ask for. I want to take a minute just to specifically thank the Tilden family for making this possible, thank the county, and also thank the ESPA committee. I see Mark McAteer here, he's the chair. And I have been an open critic of the ESPA committee in the past, but I have to say that today the ESPA committee has lived up to its promise and made it possible to preserve this farm. And I have to tell you that it's done a great service to the town and to Green Lawn. So I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming out today, and I will turn it back over to Councilman Mark Cuthbertson.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Two quick things. It's great. I didn't see Alana Israel in the distance there. You know, her dad, former Congressman Steve Israel, was on the town board when we started this process. So it's going from one generation to the next. I guess we His current title is bookstore operator, I see, which is nice. And I also do want to shout out and send our best wishes to Mark Tyree from General Services, who's not here today, but who normally helps set this up. He was in a very tough car accident, and we wish him well in his recovery. But with that, I would love to call upon, for remarks, Bruce Tilden from the Tilden family.
Thank you all for coming today. My great-great-great-grandfather, Israel Tilden Sr., married Elizabeth Wicks from one of the oldest settling families in Huntington, going back to the mid-1600s. In 1793, he bought this farm from his wife's family for 240 pounds of lawful money. In 1976, Tilden Lane Farm was named a bicentennial farm in recognition of over 200 years in family operation at the time of our nation's bicentennial. And you can see the sign that we were given on the front lawn there that recognizes that. My wife Jeannie and I, our 4 children, 6 grandchildren, look forward to continuing our farming tradition. My kids and grandkids are the 7th and 8th generation. And the boys love to come out and help plant, help weed, watch the red fox, the red-tailed hawks, the deer, and the antelope play. In addition to our Christmas trees, we grow strawberries, and we have 7 beehives, making the best honey you've ever tasted. And we have a partner farmer who grows vegetables on some of the acreage. Along with my brothers, we celebrate this sale of the development rights to the farm to preserve our farm for the family, for its future tradition. I'd just like to point out that we have a website for the farm, tildenlanefarm.com, and on there's a great tag for history and photographs of the farm going back as far as we can. And another point, Town Clerk Andy Rea has created an exhibit in Town Hall for the last year on agricultural history in the town of Huntington. And we were proud to donate or loan numerous tools, artifacts, and photos for that exhibit. I know because of COVID, a lot of folks weren't able to get into Town Hall to see that, but for as long as it's still there, I'd recommend it. It's very interesting. And it's not just our farm. There are many, many other farmers who have loaned things. Thank you all for coming. It's a wonderful day, and we're so happy and proud that we'll be able to continue our farming tradition in many generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, among the wonderful experiences here, obviously, are coming and cutting down a Christmas tree with the kids, which I've been fortunate enough to do several times, and what a great family experience. Next, a Green Lawn resident and a fierce preservationist, our director of the Suffolk County Planning Commission, Sarah Lansdale.
Thank you so much. It truly is a beautiful day and a really historic day to be here at the Tilden Farm. Back as Councilman Cuthbertson mentioned, the Suffolk County Farmland Preservation Program is actually one of the oldest farmland preservation programs in the United States. And we're really excited that back in 1974, there was a plan under Lee Koppelman, who was the first planning director for the county, with a goal to preserve 30,000 acres of farmland. And we have actually preserved 20,000 acres of farmland. So we have 10,000 acres left. We're well on our way, and we are so pleased to add the Tilden Farm to our list of farms that have been preserved, another 13.9 acres of farmland towards that 30,000 acre goal for the county. And we couldn't have done it without the willing seller, so thank you so much, as well as our great partners with the town of Huntington. We're so excited to preserve farms across Suffolk County, but especially in the West End, where it's so important to hang on to farmland in the West End. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah, for being here and all the great work that you do. And speaking of great work, it's a pleasure to call up Augie Ruchtichel, who's the Suffolk County Farmland and Open Space Coordinator.
Thank you very much. So it's news to me that the county exec wasn't coming today, because the county exec loves these events and he loves farmland, and it's such a key component of what his vision is, his future vision is of Long Island. It is preserving the remaining 10,000 acres that Sarah was talking about. What's great is that the county legislature just approved $100 million over 10 years following the county executive's 100 for 10 initiative to try to help us preserve what's remaining of Suffolk County agriculture. And we can't do that without the partnership of towns, of states, of other municipalities. So it's extremely helpful and important to work with the town of Huntington. It helps us leverage those dollars and achieve this 50-year-old goal that began back in 1974 when we created the program. I love farms like this. I grew up farming in places sandwiched in suburbs. I was farming in Nessaquag and St. James. Our last farm was behind the Comac Library, just as this farm is here right over by your library over here. They're so important to community character. It's so important to the future of Long Island farming. We grow everything in Suffolk County. What makes us survive is our diversification. We have Christmas tree farms, we have vegetable farms, we have sod farms, we have shellfish aquaculture, we have a bison farm, we have a snail farm. It's so incredibly important to preserve everything we can, because this is what's going to help us make sure that farming has a permanent future in Suffolk County, and we have permanently preserved the type of quality of life that we've all come to appreciate here. So thanks again to the Tilden family. Thank you to the town of Huntington for partnering with us, because it helps us achieve this regional goal that's so important for all of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Augie. Yeah, and the only thing that could keep Steve Ballone from being here today was a COVID quarantine. That's the only thing, the only way you could keep him from being here. But we do thank the county executive. He's been a friend of mine since I was first sworn into office, and it's been a great partnership and friendship, and we do miss him and wish him the best. Last but certainly not least is Larry Foglia from the Suffolk County Farm Committee. He is the representative for the town of Huntington and farm owner, Fox Hollow Farms, which is just an amazing story, and I hope Larry talks about it in its own right. A farm in Dix Hills that now is a working farm, and I hope he shares a little bit about that.
I have a piece of paper here, but I'll truncate it, I promise. I don't usually speak on this side of the microphone. I've been in Huntington for 57 years. I've been a farmer. I've been a naturalist educator. I've been a landscaper and an environmental activist the whole time that I have been here. But now I'm Huntington's representative to the Suffolk County Farmland Committee, and I get to work with an amazing group of people, dedicated farmers and dedicated people who work for the county, who believe that quality soil on active farms is one of the greatest resources we have here in Suffolk County, and it's an absolute pleasure. Farming is very important to Suffolk County's economy as well. Before Greek yogurt, we were the highest revenue agriculture county in the New York State. Probably go back and forth. I've worked on projects with the Nassau Land Trust, the Peconic Land Trust, and the North Shore Land Alliance. And like Sarah and Augie and Andrew Amagawa, we're usually behind the scenes. We don't get in front of the podium. Our egos are not attached to the projects that we're doing. Our job is to facilitate communication between the landowner, the homeowner, the farmer, and the county to make the preservation strategy, develop a preservation strategy to make it happen. And then facilitate communication with the elected officials, who are the most important ones because they come up with the money to make it all happen, and that's why they deserve to be here on this side of the microphone. Just to give you an idea of how it works, I started out with the Nassau Land Trust and was invited to the 19th floor of an office building in Manhattan, where people from Nassau County, from Manhattan, from California, and from Massachusetts were trying to figure out how to talk to the Grossman family about the Grossman farm in Malvern and how to get them to, they're very hard to communicate with, and to get them to nominate it at the last minute for preservation in Nassau County. And that was a surprise to me, so I said, well, I'll go talk to Liz. And that's exactly what I did. On a Saturday, I went down to Grossman Farm, asked Liz if I could talk to her in the back room, and within 10 minutes we were both in tears because we were in the same position of being the last generation capable of farming that farm because of estate reasons, and we had to figure out the next step. And she finally allowed us to nominate it to the county. The county ended up buying the farm, working for the Nassau Land Trust. We submitted the successful response to the RFP, and now it is not Grossman's farm, it's Crossroads Farm, and it has been thriving as a viable community farm ever since. In Huntington, I worked for 3 years with Councilman Cuthbertson, Town Attorney Ed Gathman, and other people from the town, and a very dedicated group of citizens from the Friends of Carpenter Farm. And it took us 3 years, and we actually preserved or purchased, got the town to go all the way from saying we don't want any part of that 12 acres to getting them to plunk down $2.9 million without county support on that. So it's preserved open space and as well as potentially farmland. So Mr. Cuthbertson has been at this for a long time. I also worked on the final stages with Stephen Searle on the final preservation of Richter's Orchard. And then I worked with Executive Malone, Sarah Lansdale, Steve Stearns in his last year to preserve our own farm, Fox Hollow Farm, because I had to satisfy the needs of my parents' estate. And we ended up able, especially with the promise of being able to sell the development rights, able to sell it to the Elijah Foundation. Elijah is E-L-I-J-A. That stands for Empowering Long Island's Journey Through Autism. So now it is a fully functional farm. The rights have been purchased by the county and the town. And it is a fully functional vegetable CSA, and as well as providing life experiences and work experiences for autistic adults or adults on the autistic spectrum. But I wanted, and I actually worked on the first iteration of the preservation of Tilden Farms. And at that time, it wasn't in the economic interest of the Tildens to sell the development rights. But I am so, so glad that it has actually come to fruition and that the family has decided to accept the county's offer and preserve this farmland. And that brings me to what I think is my main point, that preserving these small farms, this part of the county has small farms compared to farms on the East End. But because of the density of the population around us, around these small farms, there is such a high level of community interaction on the farm. Children get to meet their farmers. People get to see where their vegetables come from. They get to eat, sometimes organic, sometimes not organic, locally produced vegetable crops, and they get to meet their farmer. It's a life-changing experience. I know on my farm, I had, over the decades that we were in business, I've had hundreds and hundreds of people purchase at our farm or just come to spend time there. I used to have a daylily farm, and after 9/11, my regular customers came just to ask if they could walk around the field and look at the flowers, just for the peace of that. I've had dozens and dozens of young people from the community work for me, and many of them stayed for a number of years. And a good number of them wrote their college essays on their applications about what they learned about themselves working on a farm. And that's priceless as far as I'm concerned. Learning what work is like and learning where your food comes from. We also taught a lot of people how to take the plunge and grow their own vegetables. and start their own compost. And as soon as you start doing that, you're an agronomist, because you have a failure one year, you figure out what you're going to do the next year. But you always get to taste some food that you have grown yourself. So let's see how many farms that are left here. There are a number in our town. Let's see how many we can preserve and keep as part of our community, and have our young people experience farms. And I think it's also important to celebrate farmers. My last thing is that 52 years ago, you might not have guessed this, but 52 years ago when I was 18, I was at Woodstock. I'm starting to turn a little gray, so it's a giveaway. And on Sunday morning at Woodstock, they introduced Max Yasgur, whose farm the concert was on, and he got up and he said, "I'm a farmer." And as soon as he said that, 500,000 people stood up and gave a farmer a standing ovation. You don't see that too often, but we've had two small farm conferences here on Long Island, and we have had farmers from different parts of the country come, and they were our keynote speakers. And there again, 2 times, I got to see farmers get standing ovations. So if you get a chance, hug your farmer, visit his farm, and if you're in a group, give a farmer a standing ovation. Remember, no farms, no food.
Thank you so much, Larry. That was just absolutely delightful. And he's very, the Elijah Farm, the evolution of Fox Hollow Farm to Elijah Farm is just, it's incredible. We were there, they just had a festival, and what it's doing for individuals with autism, and the great synergies. Imagine this, the Gateway project, which are apartments and stores in Huntington Station that were built, now has apartments for individuals with autism, specifically because the developer of that project has 2 children with autism, but it's also going to have a cafe that's opening soon that is going to be supplied by Elijah Farm. So the tremendous synergies that come about when you do things like this they're endless, and they're just great. So thank you all for being here. We look forward to other acquisitions in the future, but not for me on the town board.